Greetings world, it is I, Andrew, the bearded lady from the Hairy Game Lords, and for Zatu Games I am going to share with you my thoughts and opinions on this. Azul Summer Pavilion. Find out what I thought. So before I tell you my thoughts, let's go over to the table and find out how we play. And this is set up for a two-player game because there are 5 of these circular factories out. So what you do is you take all of these fantastic tiles and place them into this brilliant bag. Shake it all up and then deal out 4 to each factory, and in the middle is the first player token. Each player has a board like so, and onto this board they need to place the coloured petals of these flowers. As you can see, there are 7 flowers in total that need to be made up through the course of the game. This centre tile, or the centre flower here, is made up with the 6 different colour petals. Now, in placing a petal on, or a tile onto your flower, you can see there are numbers. Now, those numbers refer to the number of tiles that need to be discarded in order to place one of the tiles for that flower. For instance, this one here, one of the petals of the orange variety will need to be discarded in order for you to place one here. So on and so forth as you go around, with this, the top one being 6 tiles will need to be discarded in order to place the 7th one there. Quite tricky to do, but possible. Around the outside you have 4 locations where at the end of your go 4 tiles can be placed there so that they can be carried on to the next turn. But remember, on the last turn, which is round 6, you cannot keep any tiles back, and in fact those tiles left over at round 6 will become negative points. Here you have a separate scoreboard with the scoring around the outside. This area here is for bonuses. So if certain criteria is met in scoring your board, you can take off additional petals that are then replaced instantly from the bag to help you in your scoring. For instance, when you place 4 of the petals in this location here, crowding in this statue, you can take 2 petals from there and add them to your collection. When you pen in the circle, you can take 1, and when you have put 2 either side of this pattern here, you can take 3. Also, good to note is the end score. So if you have completed the centre petal, you get 12 points, and so on and so forth, all the way down to the purple petal or the purple flower, where you get 20 points. And another great little thing to look out for here is this. If you are able to cover all of one type of number on the board, you get certain points. For instance, if you cover all of the 3 locations, you will get 12 points at the end of the game. Now, what's good to add here is that it's not just the 3 locations from all of the 6 flowers, but it's also this centre one as well. I almost forgot that when playing the game the other day, but remembered in the last few rounds and was able to complete that target. Also, it's good to point out that on each round there is a wild tile. That tile can be used. That coloured tile in that round can be used in addition to other tiles. So, for instance, when we look at this location here, on the first player's go, they will take tiles from these factories. For instance, they may take these 2 tiles. They have to take the same colour of tile each time. They would take these 2 and they would take this wild. Remaining tiles left in the factory go into the middle. The next player may take these 2 orange, and of course they would take this wild also, with the remaining going into the middle. On a turn, somebody may take the first player token. Just as in the factories, when a first player token is taken from the middle, any number of the same colour tokens that are also collected need to go as well. This person now becomes the first player in the next round. Excellent. The downside is, though, that because they have taken 3 of the same colour, they lose 3 precious points. So this phase here with the collecting of tokens keeps on going round and round until there are no tokens left. Then comes the placing of the tokens or petals onto the player boards. Another way to score throughout the game is placing tiles next to other tiles. So I have, from a previous round, been able to place this tile here. And on this round, I'm wanting to place on the 2. I have 3 tiles. So I discard 2 of them into the tower, and I can place this one here. This now gives me 1, 2 points. Each time I add a tile into this location, the points become even more so. If I was to fill the whole flower with tiles, I would be getting 6 points on that placement. Any that are left at the end of play and cannot be placed into the 4 save locations are placed into this handy clock tower. This is slowly filled throughout the game and becomes the discard tower. That is until this bag is depleted, and then the discard tower is emptied into this bag. And that's it. The game takes place over 6 rounds, with different wild tiles being used on each round, and points are tallied and counted up at the end. Okay, so what did I think? Well, let's talk about component quality. Those components are as you would expect from any Azul game. Those tiles or petals are wonderful. Not only do they feel great, look great, but they sound great in that bag. Fantastic stuff. The bag, that cloth bag, amazing, beautiful stuff. The insert in the box is really helpful in the way of packing it away and keeping everything in place so that you don't have to bag up all of those petals or tiles, but actually they are saved very nicely and kept secure in the clock tower. And the clock tower has a function in the game. Really like the way that when you are burning through your tiles to be able to place them, you're putting them into the clock tower and not back into the bag. That way there becomes a limited amount of certain colours in the bag as the game goes on, and it adds to a little bit more strategy of when to complete certain flowers, because you're not sure how much of one colour there will be. Obviously, when the bag runs dry, you empty back in the clock tower of contents, but by that point, you are usually very close to the end of the game. Ooh. Learning this game, teaching this game is brilliant, and actually feels a heck of a lot more easier to do so than the first Azul did, and even the second. Despite the game being easier to learn, teach and play, it feels like there's more to this game for gamers. The first game, Azul, big fan of, love it very much, and it was a great game for newcomers into the world of board gaming. This game also works very well, but there is a lot more kind of strategy involved, and it feels a lot more like a gamer's game of Azul. Very, very good. So what about replayability? Well, I think that this game has lots of it, because there is only a limited amount that you can do and complete in one go. Because the game takes place over only 6 rounds, there is no way that you are going to be able to complete all of your flowers in one game. I can't wait to play this game again to try out a different strategy. When we Hairy Game Lords played this, there was a number of different ideas and strategies going on as we played. For instance, myself, I just focused on going for all of the same number. So I completed all of the 3s and covered up all of the petals where 3s were needed. So I scored myself, I think it was something like 12 points in some end scoring. Whereas others went for a different strategy. Somebody went for completing a whole flower. Others went for completing the bonus locations where you surround in the different, either the statues or the different shapes to get yourself those bonus tiles off that lovely flower thing on the scoreboard. So there's lots of different ways of playing this game, and ways that you will see work better on other people's games and think, right, I'm going to implement that next time. So lots and lots of replayability for this game. Plus the backside, the flip side of the game board has a different setup on where everything is greyed out. You are not limited to the certain colour placements, and so therefore it's a kind of a freestyle game, which if you're bored or if you feel like you've exhausted the first style of the game, you can try out that one as well. Will the original Azul or even the stained glass Azul stay in my collection? I'm not sure. I really, really like this version of Azul, Summer Pavilion. As I've said, I feel like it's easier to teach and also has a little bit more strategy involved for us gamers. So there is a strong possibility I will be waving farewell to my other Azuls and embracing Summer Pavilion as my exclusive Azul. Ooh. My only niggle, I guess, would be about this game is that you can't finish it. You cannot, if you are a completer finisher, which, well, I'm not, but if you were, that might frustrate you because there isn't enough time for you to get this pretty pattern completed in front of you. You do have to choose and be selective on what you're going to go for, where you're going to place things. So that would be a niggle, but only a small one at that. I like the scoring. I like the fact that you score when you're placing tiles next to other tiles, and I really like that end scoring as well. I also like the fact that the scoreboard is a separate board so that everybody can see who's scoring and how far ahead or behind they may be. And of course then I like the elements of the wild round. So each round has a wild colour where when choosing that colour it doesn't relate to the colour that you are placing in the flower, but it actually becomes a wild colour, thus helping you in your mission to complete other coloured flowers. And also, I like the way that you can see what wild flower or what wild colour is coming up next. And so if you are strategic enough, you can plan ahead, grab a whole load of those colours and save them for the next round, which then, those colours then become wild. Ooh, good. Excellent. Well, obviously you need to check out Azul Summer Pavilion on Zatu because we've got a belter of a good price. Check it out and, well, get involved. You will not regret. If you like Azul, the first, the second, you are going to love this one, Summer Pavilion, the third. Do it. Enjoy.